Hi everyone, I'm John Gist.
And I'm DeDe Brown.
Welcome to Black on the Scene, a podcast about our love for all things Black entertainment.
As two entertainment executives, we've come together to honor the many accomplishments within Black entertainment that celebrate us, the culture. We are so excited for you to take this journey with us and learn why Black on the Scene is our love letter to Black entertainment.
This is our first episode where we discuss the inspiration for the show, our backstory, and what you can expect from us. Take a ride with us each week as we uplift and share our love of being Black on the Scene.
Woohoo! Here we go!
Cheers. You can't really see my, there we go. Cheers.
There you go. Cheers.
To my favorite person to talk to about all things Black Hollywood, fashion, oh hell, everything. Okay, cheers. Yes.
Gets me going.
Yes, it does. So John, we're here.
So DeDe, we are here. We are here. A lot of conversations, a lot of chit chat, a lot of meetings, a lot of Google Docs, a lot of it all, because we both are so OCD, but we also think the same. And we're here for this conversation, finally.
I'm so excited. You're right. We are both OCD, and the reason that we're here is just thinking about the industry that we're in as two Black film executives or studio executives.
And lovers of film.
I mean, more importantly, lovers of film, TV, Black entertainment.
Black and black. All of it. All Black everything.
All of it. And man, we've had some really great conversations over the years. And we know that we're not an anomaly in the love of all things like Black entertainment.
Right.
So this is our love letter.
Our love letter. I love saying that because it's so beautiful. But yeah, this is our love letter to the Black creatives, to the below the line folks, to the storytellers, to the executives,
the Black marketers,
to the marketers, to all of us, agents, lawyers. We all come together. We all are a family. We all are a unit. And this is just a celebration of us doing that.
It really, really is. And we have a particular purview and bird's eye view into
POV
into this industry, specifically film and some TV, because we both work in marketing and PR for film studios. And
have for quite some time. I'm an OG in this space. John is a baby OG. I'm a baby OG, right? I'm still learning to walk.
But a legend. And so when we met on, oh my gosh, you said I said it was 2015 yesterday.
And it was 2014. It was because the only reason I know this is because that was when I first moved to Los Angeles, and so that date is like stuck in my head because I moved out there in April and got introduced to a whole world of stuff.
I mean stuff. So you leave Allied Marketing Agency,
yes,
in Atlanta.
Because I always had hopes and dreams of going to LA, and I was like, I gotta get out there. I gotta figure out a way to get out there because I need to go. Atlanta's done. I'm done with Atlanta. I'm been there, done that, born and raised. Now I'm on to the next chapter. And 2014 was that moment, and I was out there in a matter of 2 weeks trying to figure out life, and it was interesting to say the least.
You know what's interesting for me is I didn't know until I think this past, like maybe last year or late 2019, that when you got out there, you had this like 2-week period where you were like couch surfing with very amazing and stylish couch owners.
Yes. I mean, because it happened so quickly, and I was someone who had never lived anywhere outside of the state of Georgia for most of my life at that point. And I was turning 29, and I had it's funny because at the beginning of the year, I had made a goal. I was like, by the time I'm 30, I'm going to be in Los Angeles, California, living there. And that was my New Year's resolution, New Year's Day 2014. And things happened, and I moved out there in April, and I didn't have a place to stay. My lease didn't start until like the first week of May or something like that. So I stayed on a few people's couches who I was like, I need somewhere to stay, please. I know you don't really know me that well, but thank you. And stayed on Micah McDonald's couch and Kevin Stuckey, who, two people I love to this day, who really helped me. Jey Floyd as well. They all were roommates, and we stayed together for about a week and a half in Mid-City in California.
That is the best story ever because, of course, Kevin is a legend in the making as well over at Netflix. And I also met him at the same time that I met you.
Yes.
When I embarked on this sort of consulting freelance life after 11 years working at a media company. And this introduction to you, I always wanted to be bi-coastal. I could never figure that out. And it was kind of just the world was a different place in the like early aughts and mid aughts. And when we met, you had, I think it was just as you were getting settled. I think it was like end of April, May. I met you and Kevin at the same time, and Jey, because Jey was working at the agency as well.
We all working.
And I have to thank our dear friend and mentor and big sister, Carolyn Sloss, for that, which over the course of this podcast, you're going to hear Carolyn's name.
Carolyn Sloss. You've heard a lot of names a few times, but yes, Carolyn would be one of them.
This is what we should have named the podcast, an ode to Sloss. The Sloss.
I actually love that. That should be a segment. That should be a segment. That is a segment each week.
Her to come on too.
Yes.
Woo.
I love it.
But I owe that opportunity, and I owe her so much in particular. But that introduction to the agency and Erika Bennett in particular, who is just beyond, like, she's already a legend, and she's a very young legend. But meeting you guys at the agency to work on one of our, like, that might have been like a hazing movie, our little introduction into like LA and like what it's like to launch a really robust multicultural campaign. It was also new to me, having the background in like media. There really wasn't a multicultural initiative or space, and I always was interested in it. I always was like the default multicultural person, but the publication I worked for is not known for its multicultural initiatives or point of view.
Right. So one thing to also note is that the idea of multicultural was, like, for me, it was such a newer term. Like, starting out, I think around like maybe 2012-ish, 2011-ish, that's when I started hearing it more, and it just started to like balloon after that. And working at Ally on the film we're going to talk about, Get On Up, the Chadwick Boseman James Brown bio film, was like my really first national, big scale expectations, pressure, stress. What am I doing? Like, all those moments of like, am I on the right track here? Am I doing the right thing here? Like, all that was very new to me. And like, I'm new to this city. I'm literally in the backyard of all these clients. Like, they call me, text me, let's have a meeting in person. Like, it was very different. But I think it's interesting. I'd say this thing is really interesting, where me and you we kind of figured it out together. Like, we were literally on this journey together, both being new to this world, and just like, I got your back, DeDe, you got my back, Jon. Like, we were just kind of like figuring it all out together, which was so amazing.
Let me just talk about my first impression of like meeting you and Kevin and Erika and Jey. It was so new to me because I had not been around that many Black people in a professional setting. I'm usually the only one. And so I was around these beautiful, brilliant Black folks And I was like, first of all, I was very intimidated, but I was also in heaven. Like, I was like, what is happening here? And the marketing that we're going to be doing is all about the African American or Black marketing campaign for this icon, James Brown, who I always used to want to be my daddy because I always wanted to have rich parents, which I do not, but I have the best parents. They're just not rich. I always was like, James Brown is probably my uncle or my father or somebody. I know I'm supposed to be related to him. And obviously not. And then to embark on this new chapter in my life, meeting you all, I was just blown away. First of all, everyone's so beautiful. Like, you with your skin, Kevin with his skin, like, it was just all, I was like, who are they? They don't, first of all, they don't look real. It's just, and they're freaking smart. And it just was this moment where I was like, I'm not sure what I'm doing, to your point, and I'm pretty sure I wasn't sure what I was doing until the end of the campaign. And then introduce the amazing, speaking of beyond talented and a legend, Talitha Watkins.
Talitha Watkins.
Who listen.
If you don't know, you need to know, and you need to find out.
I mean, I literally, and I had never in all my years really in the publishing space, again, sort of met, and I also had that, short amount of time that I worked in field marketing for Universal. There were no Black people really in the space, not in the field, not in Atlanta. So we shared that in common, that we're both from Atlanta. We're both from very like humble Southern roots. We didn't know what this job was. We didn't know what movie marketing was, but we knew we loved movies, right? Growing up, we knew we had this passion and love for entertainment. And somehow we figured that all out, like just the process of trial and error. But like getting to LA and working on this project and meeting Talitha, who is just the epitome of a boss. I remember us being in that conference room. And first of all, I was like, I can't believe Erika Bennett hired me. I was like, I hope I get this job. And then when I got it, I was like, oh snap, I got the job.
What do I do now?
So I was going between New York and LA, just constantly on a plane, but getting to meet you guys and getting to work with Talitha as a client. I tell you what, I learned so much from all of you. It was like a master class in movie marketing, publicity, not to mention experiential, talent.
Let's not forget about the events that we were doing and us being constantly on the road. Essence Festival, ABFF, premiere at the Apollo Theater in New York. I mean, it was like, that was a movie to work on, like for your first thing. That was it. That was like, you're getting it all.
It really was. And by the way, I went to Cincinnati to the National Urban League.
And I went to Vegas. For the NAACP award, NAACP convention. Yeah.
So
between the two of us, we were all over the country with this movie.
We really were. And we'd be in the office together. And I would like go over, because you were in a cube at the time. And I just remember you always had a blanket on because you were always cold.
I was always cold, yes.
Yeah. And I was staying at a friend's second bedroom, not too far from the office.
Yeah.
And I would get in that office, kind of like delirious. I didn't know where I was most of the time because I still had a life back in Brooklyn, right? I was still managing my, my rental property, also trying to figure out like next to all of the things. And it was just so incredible. And so being in that office constantly, you and I talking, we were like, do you know what's going on? No. Do you know what's going on? No. Do you know what's going on? Not at all. And being on the Essence calls. So Essence is massive at this point, right? Do you remember being in those weekly calls?
Essence calls.
I'd be sitting at my cube, like, I literally was like, I don't know what they're talking about. Remember so I was like,
this is really hilarious. And I'm like, I literally have like forgot about some of these moments. And you just saying that,
yes,
has made me so much joy right now. Like, I love those Essence calls. They were so funny.
They were so funny, just getting prepared for that, but also just kind of, again, I'm at this place where I really want to prove myself because again, we both are in this position.
Yeah.
Really wanting to prove ourselves, really wanting this movie to do really well. This was kind of at the beginning of, it's 2014, social media was a thing, but it's not the thing that it was now.
And this was Chadwick's second film too. Like he had did 42 and this was his follow-up to that. So there was this again, expectations. And we had to come on board and do it. And just so everyone knows, you were the project manager on this title, because there were so many different moving parts to it where, you kind of connected publicity and marketing and events and experiential and everything else in between that we did for that campaign all together. So everyone knows kind of the various moving parts. And I was in charge of the marketing from the agency side. And you and I work so closely together with Kevin and Chardae Jenkins, we love as well. And I just remember, we went to New York. I think this is for we went to New York and we went to that place to have dinner. Do you remember that place we went to for dinner, like lunch or something? We had the macaroni and cheese.
Yes, it was the cafeteria, and it was
cafeteria. Yeah, it was cafeteria. And Alex Hill was there too. And I remember you were just like, John, what's going on? And I said, girl, we just try to make it. And at that point, I think we were like maybe at the halfway point or very close to the finish line. And I was like, hey, we can do this. And I said, all we got to do is get through this top line and we will be
work back.
Work back. The work back that never happens.
Listen, I learned so many terms that I had no idea about. Mm-hmm. I wasn't big on social media. You talk about being lit up, like all cylinders firing. And again, I knew that there's a lot riding on this. If I'm going to continue on the sort of freelance consulting space, and I'm not kidding. I'll say it again. It was a masterclass in marketing, publicity, events, working with some of the most brilliant people who are literally they were doing amazing things then at the agency, and Talitha was at studio at Universal, and looking at in a few short years where everyone is now. And I again did not know that literally was a thing. And just managing, I can't even tell you, there's so many lessons learned that I carry with me every day. Some of which include just having very high expectations that were set by Talitha and Erika.
Yeah.
And watching them being the tough but really knowledgeable, and they're very kind, wonderful people. But they have high expectations because they know they put in the work, right? Yeah. And so I've learned so much just observing them, and also doing what I was supposed to do and trying to exceed expectations, because that's always important. It's not just meeting them, it's exceeding them.
Exactly. And I was going to say too, one thing I learned from that is just how to figure it out. It's just you just have to figure it out, no matter what it is, be solutions oriented. And I remember I feel like that was a term I never really understood or processed at the time. And it was just figure it out, be solutions oriented, and everything will be fine. And I think between you and I and the rest of the team, we figured it out from that campaign.
Figured it out. And I remember just delivering the end of the campaign report, which was I think about 200 pages with all the stuff that we did. And I used that kind of as a Bible moving forward with other projects that I worked on, just how robust and comprehensive a campaign should be and what all goes into it. And we're talking about a small team of people, right?
Yeah. Doing so much heavy lifting. Yeah.
Yes. I remember what our budget was, which is, you would laugh at it now because Universal budgets are so much, more robust, but that budget was so small and we exceeded it. I'm pretty sure we doubled the budget but Talitha was this is huge. It's Mr. Brown's legacy. It's Chadwick's, it's Chadwick's, to your point, second movie. And can we just raise a glass to Chadwick?
To Chadwick, yes. Yes.
I mean, he, and full disclosure, the interactions that I had with him were not personal conversations, like he was there to do a job, I was there to do a job. And I've had the benefit of working with him for an activation on 21 Bridges, which was his last film before his sad passing. But man, he was everything that everyone talks about with him now as being someone about the business. He was about the business. He didn't have business. Remember, like there was no social media, right? He had no social media. He was quiet and reserved and just regal, right? So it's no surprise that he ended up playing T'Challa, right? Because there was a regal quality to him. And he, what did we say? He was not about shenanigans.
He was not about shenanigans. Like you said, he was there for a job, and he was like, all right, I'm gonna do my job. This is what I need to do, and keep it moving. And I think like my memories of him, like just thinking back to like, I remember being with him and Tika Sumpter on the Essence Festival floor, and like just walking through, and he was like, oh wow, like he was amazed by, he's like, this is massive, like this is big, this is like a thing. And he was like, can we wait a second? I was like, and so yeah, like this, observe or whatever. And he was like, I want to just see, I want to kind of feel the vibe and everything. He was very much about a vibe and an energy. And then he just was so excited about the whole Essence Festival experience. And he was like, do we have tickets to the concert? And I was like, yeah, we got tickets to the concert. And he was like, he went to the concert, and like he just was, you could tell he was really just, again, taking it all in. Again, very early in his career, being exposed to all these things. His, second lead of a film, so the second leading film that he did, and he just was really just, again, it was an energy about him that I just really kind of always appreciated. Like it was just never any fuss, it was never any fluff. It was just very much I'm here to do the job. I'll go and do it, and I'll exceed everyone's expectations, and then he goes off to do what he needs to do. And I just always appreciated that about him. And again, I interacted with him a lot during that campaign because I'm the talent handler whisperer. And I just, again, he was always just very cordial, very, very nice and lovely every single time I was around him.
Let's just unpack that for a second, because I think there's something, because of course Tika Sumpter was in it, as you said, and I have had the opportunity of working with her on another film, on Nobody's Fool, who is, again, aside from being just absolutely stunningly beautiful, beautiful, so lovely, so professional, so like, just like, I'm here to do a job. I want to make this as amazing as it can. And I think she said yes to pretty much everything we asked her to do. And I think what I'd like to illuminate for anyone listening is that, part of the reason we wanted to even start this podcast, aside from us just, giving the folks that we have worked with over the years and projects that we've loved and giving them their flowers, but also peeling back the curtain a little bit on some things that you just probably don't consider as somebody who doesn't work in the industry.
Right.
And one of those things, quite frankly, is when it's your first or second film, you have no context to the production around you in marketing a film. There's so much involved. So what the audience typically sees is the end result of that, right? You see the junket or the talkback or the movie. So aside from the talent spending months preparing for a movie, learning their lines, read-throughs, things we don't even know about because we don't work on the production side, doing their ASDMR, I'm totally messing that up, their audio, they're over it, blah, blah, blah. They are trying to figure out the PR aspect of it also, hiring a publicist where they may have never had to do that before.
Yeah.
And by the way, they might not have still made enough money to hire a publicist, someone to take care of their needs, but they're being asked to participate in interviews, give quotes about things, give a lot of their time to promote a movie that they might have made 2 years ago, right? And they might be on production on another film. Right. So at this time, Chadwick is in his second film. I don't know what it was for Tika, but she had, I think she had a little bit more like experience in the industry. Although Chadwick was in his late 30s. So he'd been working all along, but these were like, considered the big breaks. He was by no means an overnight success. So you got to imagine, this is your second film. You're at the biggest festival in the world, Essence Fest, and everybody looks like you.
Yeah, surrounded by Black women. Yeah.
Okay, wait, let's just talk about his first major role. He was playing Jackie Robinson. Okay. Let's just take a second and really take that into, the expectations around that, right? So you're part of this massive campaign. So as much as we're driving the African-American or Black or multicultural targeted marketing, he's also being asked to do things on the national publicity side, right? And so involved in all of that is everybody always wants the talent, right, Jon? Everybody wants a piece of the talent. We want you to show up. We want you to be handsome. We want you to be stylish.
Happy, kiss all the babies, hug all the moms, like do it all.
Do all the autographs, the selfies, the whole nine.
Yes.
And there's a lot of energy that's required in doing that. And if you are a person who is, I think, a bit more reserved, in your energy and how you expend it, I think it's somewhat of a challenge, right? Like him not having social media. I don't think at the time, and I don't know that he did before his passing, what you're being asked to do and manage, it's a lot coming at you at one time. Right? And I certainly think if you're a woman, because God forbid you have a few extra pounds on you, or, you wore the wrong dress, or it's, a little bit, I think less stressful in terms of like the appearance of it all for men. Even men go through that as well. And so we asked a lot of them on that campaign, right? We really, really did. I mean, just you have to, one of the challenges for us is always trying to figure out, how do we market this film without necessarily talent being involved? Either they're not available, they're on, another production, or they don't want to really be at the front of the campaign for whatever reason, because it's very time consuming. And that's why that campaign was so robust, is because the talent can't be everywhere.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why the T-shirt or the T-shirt partnership. Yes. And on the music side, getting like what are we doing in digital to get early supporters of the film? How do we market this movie without having the talent always involved?
Having to be it, yeah. And the thing you did with the experiential traveling James Brown tour, I mean, that was a way to reintroduce the world to this legend, and I think also to the younger generations with the T-shirt partnership and things like that. So I think we were being so thoughtful, and no stone was unturned in terms of audiences and who we were trying to reach, because we were like, we want to reach, my parents, and we also want to reach younger folks as well, and everyone else in between. And I think that really stood out within our marketing of what we were doing. I mean, we had a Ebony magazine cover. We went to all those different events and conventions, like every Black event, convention, festival, you name it, DeDe and I were at, and we had a presence for get on up there. And I think that's what thoughtful marketing is. It's like, let's go to where the people are, and let's talk whatever that language is that they need to speak. So if it's an older audience, great. If it's a younger audience, what is that entry point and entryway of how to getting and connecting with that audience? I think we really try to be thoughtful about that in everything that we did.
I mean, Jon, that's your magical word, right? Is thoughtful. Are you thoughtful about how are we doing this, how it reverberates? And again, it's something that I most certainly knew in my career, but it was really integral to this campaign, and something that Talitha and Erika were really, again, like, professors at teaching that in, throughout the campaign. And, I would say that, whoever's listening, and if you haven't seen Get On Up, you will marvel at the dedication, because he was James Brown in this movie.
He was James Brown. The dancing, the dialect, the moves. I mean, it was eerily amazing. Like, how do you channel someone that well?
I would say and I'm a stickler about this because, we're both Southerners, and I'm a proud Southerner. And I have a particular issue with non-Southerners trying to play Southerners, right? Trying to get the dialect, which they just think if they just put on a twang, that is every part of the Southern, hemisphere of the United States of America. And it really doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Which is why I think he is originally from South Carolina. He had a really great accent and inflection of James Brown that I think is very distinct to having been raised in the South, knowing Southern people. And it's not just a matter of putting on a twang. There's so much twang or a Southern accent. There's so much more to that. And I have a great deal of reverence for people. People who do it, people who do it very well. And that is, a little sidebar is Jamie Foxx did it extremely well on Just Mercy, but he also is from Texas, and he knows, those are his people. He knows for the region that he was, portraying, and that was Alabama, where I'm from. So I have a great deal of respect for him, for Chadwick for being able to do that. And, as we're talking about like what this movie meant I think it was very pivotal in our careers, because again, we got to do so much, which really set the foundation. That's your first real movie in LA.
Yeah.
In this multicultural marketing space. It was mine, between New York and LA, and also sort of opening the door to this world of project management and multicultural marketing for me, which I continued to dabble at, sort of over the years, and then really double down on it, around 2018. And over the course of those years, my partner in crime has been you.
Somehow we always find ourselves back to each other, trying to figure out something or another. And I just want to say too, like, after we opened that movie, which I think it opened in August of 2014.
August 4th. I will never forget it.
Cement it in your brain. August 4th, I mean, as we do with campaigns, it's like on to the next. And, again, first year there, I kind of just came off this big movie, and you obviously were done, wrapped up the report, everything went in, and we kind of went our separate ways for a little bit. And you went back to New York, and I was in LA trying to, figure it out. And 2015 rolls around, which is one of the biggest financial successful years of Universal Pictures history, with Jurassic World and Minions and everything else under the sun. And we found ourselves working together again randomly as the universe works on a Paramount movie, which was such a fresh reunion for me, because it was like, again, we talked, but like it wasn't like what it is now, where it's like literally we check in with each other
10 times
an hour of the day. But we worked together on this amazing film from Ava DuVernay titled Selma for Paramount Pictures, and you had a relationship with the studio, and we were Ally Moxley was hired for multicultural support on the film. And we were again in the trenches again, figuring it out, which was so amazing to have that reunion, like almost less than a year later.
Figuring it out in my backyard of Selma, Alabama. I'm from Montgomery, as you know. And I think that part of why we wanted to create this podcast, and, is it going to be a YouTube channel? I mean, who knows? Is it going to be a documentary or docuseries into the shenanigans of Jon and DeDe and movie marketing and life marketing? But listen, we got a lot, but we also give a lot. Yeah. And I would say that there's no way to be in this industry, and we'll have a whole episode about what it takes sort of to be in it, how to get in it, how to maintain being in it. You do hand over your life in many ways. it has to become a bit of your life. You're going to see the cat walk behind me because she likes to, I don't know, you may not see her because I have the screen on.
Yeah.
But anyway, and so when we found ourselves working on Selma, again, another big Black tentpole movie.
With
and
expectations.
And Ava's breakout movie. And
yeah,
in
Ava's breakout movie, yeah.
In many ways, I feel like it was my breakout movie too, because I actually got to go home and do home to Montgomery and Selma to do some of the movie marketing, project management on the.
Such a beautiful thing. I wish I was able to be there. I mean, that's what we do this for those kind of moments. Like that is to see and hear all the amazing stories of that experience is like, you know, like I feel so fulfilled. You know what I mean? Like it was just such a to work on that film and even what I did with Oprah's event she did honoring all these amazing civil rights legends, you know, just being in the same vicinity where I'm sharing the same air with these people, these legends. It was something to speak to. It's something to like. That's a career highlight of my life completely. And I have a lot of those. Well, not a lot. I have a few of those that are like up there, but like that's definitely one of the ones that are like it's just special. It's somewhere special in my heart about that.
It was amazing. My parents got to be there, and I know you know when your mom gets to see you work.
Yeah.
Because my parents typically don't understand.
Not at all.
What is it that you do? If only.
If only you knew in the type of meetings that I'm in and the kind of yes.
You literally are waking up, sleeping, eating, breathing a campaign, and for that, I mean, it was the crossing of the Edmund Pettus Bridge from Selma, and I think it was the Jubilee that they ended up doing it. And so Oprah was there, Common, John Legend, they performed on that bridge. We did connected, we did an activation with the mayor of Selma at the time. We donated $75,000 to the school there. We had a talk back with Congresswoman Terry Sewell, who moderated a discussion with the talent in front of a bunch of college students. Not college students, actually they were high school students. It was the Selma High School. And then we did a cutting of the ribbon at City Hall, and then marched across the bridge where there was our performance, and then there was a premiere that night. And my parents got to be there to see the whole thing, and they had never in all these years really been a part of like my work life. And I got to hire, I think, both of my sisters to freelance, which, as you know, I do from time to time.
Yes.
Hire friends and family when I can, and also one of my childhood friends got to come with her son to the premiere and do all these things that when you move away from home, if you are from a place like Atlanta, or for me, Montgomery, Alabama, you move to New York or LA to pursue these dreams of entertainment. Because there's really not entertainment in Montgomery.
Right.
There is in Atlanta, but it's very different. You're either in New York or LA for this kind of, I think, work. There are different levels to it. And it was just a gift. It was hard work, and we should do a deep dive into that. Finding partnerships, often not working with a lot of budget.
Yeah.
That is also like one of the challenges that we face with a lot of these multicultural budgets, is that there's not a lot of money. And so you really have to be thoughtful. Oh, John, maybe that should have been the name of the podcast. Thoughtful and Black.
Thoughtful and Black. Or Black and Thoughtful.
Black and Thoughtful.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we haven't revealed the name of the podcast.
We haven't revealed the name of the podcast. We have not.
We still don't know.
we have options. We have options. And I think we've nailed down from a long list of not so great options to really fine tuning what I think a good one could be. But when do you want to debut the name? When should we talk about it?
We can do it here. Like what we're considering. Should we?
Sure. Well, you know what, the thing about this is, you know, and this is, you know, as we mentioned earlier today for everyone listening is, you know, DeDe and I, first of all, we have these kind of conversations all the time. Like, don't let a good TV show come on or see something in the trades or whatever, or a good film out. We will literally sit on the phone and just talk. And we have such a great and honest and organic and brother-sister relationship. It was like, and again, we love Black things in the entertainment space. So why not talk about that via a podcast? And that was an idea, and it was a seed planted. Maybe it was late last year, earlier this year. We just were kind of like noodling on it and talking about it, and it kind of snowballed into what you see now, what you hear now, of our first episode. And I love this woman so much. I trust her so much. Again, we are literally somehow cut from the same cloth and have the same brain, and we think the same, and we dress the same, as you can see. Like it feels so good to honestly just talk to you and to see you and hear your thoughts and reminisce about these amazing stories. And there's so much more we want to do, because this is a love letter to everyone, to it all. And we've seen, we've heard, we've have so many different stories to share, and we are so excited to create this platform in order to do that. And I'm so excited for what's to come of our themed episodes, our special guests. Our DeDe has so many lovely entertainment friends that we're going to get on the show to share their insights. Like, it's going to be fantastic, and I am so excited that we actually sat down, became intentional, and decided to just do it. And I am completely excited for what's to come.
I am too. As much as we do think a lot, we challenge each other on things.
Yeah.
And what's so great is how we learned to challenge each other was a result of our agency work on Get On Up in the brainstorms. Miss Erika Bennett.
Yes.
Some guidelines about how we would thoughtfully share.
Yeah.
And thoughtfully give people the opportunity to say what they had to say, to express their thoughts, to be creative without judgment. And I think that that's hard a lot of times when there's a lot of passion around topics or passions around, and we love nothing more than a brainstorm.
Yeah.
Invite DeDe Brown and Jon Gist to a brainstorm.
We would do a dive of dives on that.
The dives of dives, and we love it so much. And so Erika's thing was everybody's entitled to share, and we want to give them the opportunity to expand on that. And so we would say,
yes, and
not no, you shouldn't do that, or why would you think of this? But it's yes and
which is so powerful, which is so powerful, of like just continuing the thought in a different way. Which I literally use that today, like always. Like, it is a thing for me to say. And I literally, that was my first time learning that.
Me too.
Idea of doing that during that time period when we were doing all those brainstorms.
Me too. I got so much out of it. There's nothing like knowing what you know, right? But the process of discovery has just been so rewarding. And it's actually good for I think us to acknowledge that, because listen, we're not curing cancer. There are serious things at play in the world. There's serious issues. We all have our personal family and friend things going on that can, really weigh on us in many ways. So we can't say that this is the end all and be all, because certainly it has its place. But the process of discovery in doing this kind of work, trying to be fresh and innovative and creative and thoughtful, has been such a gift for me. It really has helped me in ways and
Yeah.
reverberated in ways that in my personal life, from being able to be thoughtful and to think through things to the next step, is a learned skill that in PR and marketing and in this space, you really have to do. The thing you do now, how is that going to help or hurt you 2 steps down the road?
Yeah.
And when you create a campaign, that's something you have to be looking at, right? But this is also true in life. So I've found it very helpful with dealing with personal situations, like my mom being sick a couple of years ago. Like and Jon knows this because Jon is very similar. Again, obviously we said we shared the same brain, but asking those questions so my mom had cancer a couple of years ago, and me being able to really like hone in on things and think, okay, if you do that, what happens 2 steps down the road? Yes, and to the question that or what you're proposing and the thought process behind this, but what else are we missing? What else should we be thinking about? How are we looking at this holistically? And that has just helped me in those personal ways. And that is all because of the job. That's all because of the training that I've gotten over the years in doing the kind of work that we do. So I have an immense amount of just gratitude for it. It's a love letter, not just, I think, my love letter, not just to Black entertainment and entertainers. I think it's a love letter to what, you know, PR and marketing has like done for my life, right?
I mean, that's an episode within itself right there. I mean, just
The
impact it's having. I mean, and just like all the lessons, the trials, the tribulations learned. I mean, again, DeDe and I talk all the time, but we've talked each other off the ledge also multiple times. We've been there for each other on those very, very hard, stressful days, those stressful moments, those stressful campaigns of like, help. And like I've been the voice of reason for her, she's been a voice of reason for me. So I think, you know, this is just a celebration, a love letter to it all, you know what I mean, to the journey that we've been on, to the experiences that we've had with each other in this space. And then again, just like the idea of seeing so much Blackness on screen, so much authentic storytelling on screen, and like what that means. Like that means a lot, and that's impactful. So I can't, like, I look forward to just us talking, laughing, drinking, crying probably, like just laying it all out there to just and hopefully this moves someone, this inspires someone, this opens up another door to exploring and learning more about this space from just 2 executives who work in film and who love entertainment, who love this space that we're in.
And for full transparency, when I started the new role that I have at the studio that I am currently working with on the national publicity side, Jon and I talked about, you know, some of the motivation for wanting to, aside from the fact it's just an amazing opportunity, is so Black and brown kids and people can see themselves at studios in the entertainment industry in ways that aren't traditional. And I say traditional, and everybody knows writers, directors, you know, producers to some degree, and talent, but there's so much more of a movie making is such a collaborative endeavor that we wanted to open that door for especially young Black people, because we didn't have that. And we've recently done a panel discussion with SCAD around these very topics. And that's more of, you know, our intent is to illuminate these opportunities more, but also to get more Black and brown people into the industry. We will dive into that for sure on another chat.
Yes, and yes.
Yes and yes. But this love letter that we're asking you to share with us, it's an open invitation to share your love your appreciation for the Black movies, TV, film, art. I don't know a lot about art, but I know what I like. And I know there's some wonderful Black creators and marketers and business people. I mean, who knows where this goes, because we have not gotten there yet. But we wanted to just start from a place of reverence and appreciation. We thank y'all for coming on this journey with us on this first unnamed podcast episode.
Yes. But there's so much more to come, and we do have a name, and it will be revealed very soon. But like you said, please come on this journey with us. It will be a moment. It will be a hilarious, heartfelt, authentic moment to just take this journey with us, take this ride with us. Because,
and not for nothing, you will see when this morphs. I mean, I hope we end up doing video on all of it, which I think we will, because you have to see our amazing vintage jewels.
Our fashions. You have to see the fashions.
May or may not be color coordinated on every, single. Maybe we should, Jon.
Maybe we should, actually. I think it's kind of cute. Like, just wear the same color. Like, we can easily do that.
Yes. Okay. So this is a vintage Whiting and Davis necklace from my archives. I love.
This is a vintage David Yurman 1972 collection. It's not. It's a DeDe Brown. It's a DeDe Brown piece, actually.
It's actually Leah and Sophia from a sample sale.
Oh.
Jon has a lot of my jewels, which we'll
dive into that as another episode as well.
The fashions. We thank y'all for coming on this journey with us, Jon.
Yes.
Wait, what are you drinking again?
This is a Tequila Jon punch.
The Gist gotcha Gist tequila punch.
Gotcha Gist tequila punch. That sounds fun.
And I'm just drinking rosé Moet.
My nice fancy metal gold straw.
Look at you, an environmentalist, which you're not.
I am.
Cheers to you, my friend.
Cheers to you, my friend.
Cheers to Black Hollywood and all that you do. Representation matters. We need more of it. We are celebrating what we have, but we know that there's room for so much more. Cheers.
And cheers to our first episode complete.
Holy smokes, we did it.
We did it. Yay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to our very first episode of Black on the Scene. As you noticed, we had not chosen a name for the show at the time of recording, so our next episode will take you through our debate and deliberation of how and why we chose Black on the Scene. Thanks for joining, and be sure to subscribe and follow Black on the Scene. That's BLK on the SCENE on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, where you can also share your own love letter to Black entertainment. Until next time.